Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what proximately could be the final episode here for the podcast that we're doing here today. We wanted to run it back one more time with the one and only Mr. Shep Bandicoot, and we wanted to run it back to, because a lot of people, and I know on the server it's been very quiet, but a lot of people have been wanting to see the rerun. And so definitely there are some burning questions that a lot of people have asked, and I know definitely when we invite the crowd up here, I know definitely they're going to be asking some very interesting questions.
You have no idea
That's
what kind of questions they're gonna
Oh
ask, do
yeah,
you?
well no, honestly, I hope I never find out. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So without further ado, gonna start it off like how we always do. Shep, how's your day been so far?
It's been pretty good. I finished out my last shift of work today recently. I'm preparing to move cities, so my I had my last shift. I got to send off from the team I've been working with for 2 years. It was a hell of
Oh
a
yeah.
it was a hell of a day. I'll say that.
Oh no. I can imagine. Stressful probably. Because I know you were telling me like we had it planned and then you're like, no, I've been caught up in shit. So I can imagine it's probably very stressful.
Yeah, I'm graduating this year. I'm graduating from college, so I'm beginning a new life.
Damn. Getting a new life. If I can finally separate from this shit. But we're gonna wrap it up into the first question. This comes from Mr. Mr. Boober. How did you get into Rec Room
Mr.
Wrestling?
Boobies?
Mr. Boobies. How'd you get into Rec Room Wrestling?
So back in the God, it's been so long now, but 2021, I was doing a room with like called FNL. That was like my first commentary gig there. But my first
Hmm.
experience with Rec Room Wrestling was, I think, shortly after that. I stumbled upon, uh, I think it was Scratch. I stumbled upon Scratch's NXT for like their WWE at the time, and I was watching the crowd. I'm like, oh shit, let me see if I can join this. And I messaged a guy named Tokyo Lights. I'm not sure if he's still around anymore. It's an old name, but Tokyo Light. I messaged him. He was like, yeah, let's send your information. And I went into Discord. They told me I couldn't wrestle because I was a screeny, and I was like, what the fuck's a screeny? and I was like, okay, shit, I guess not. So everything Rec Room Wrestling was very quiet since then. Fast forward maybe 6 or 7 months later, I think. No, it'd have to be longer than that, like 9 months. Impact Wrestling was starting with Plasma and Jetstream and Mr. Know-It-All and Jordan, and I was there for one of their first shows. I was uh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was in the crowd again, kind of similar to how I did FNL, and I think Taxi, he's the one who came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, you want to comment this show?" And I just hopped right over there and was talking. And right after the show, we had this little promo exchange because I told him like, "You guys are ass at promos. Let's work on this." So I just spent the next half an hour roasting the shit out of those people in the room. Like I was doing a heckling drill with them, like making them think on their feet. But that was my first experience with Rec Room Wrestling.
All right. Honestly, it always seems to stem from Impact. I think that was like the main focus was like Impact, like just was the seed, and you just kind of sprouted out from there. You kind of went like everywhere else.
Yeah, Impact was a fun place for a short
Honestly, it
amount of
was.
time.
Yeah.
Like
Before
Plasma and them were great. Uh,
before
before, yeah, that.
yeah. Yeah, that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Gulp.
There's a
Damn.
clip on my channel now which is aged like milk,
Oh
which is
yeah,
him,
it's aged like
which is
fine
him.
wine.
I was in a session with him, just like fucking around, and it was just like him going, "Hey kids, I'm gonna touch you." it was,
And now that clip has
so
aged like fine wine. Oh yeah. A young man once said, "I'm gonna touch you, kids," and here we are. Here we are, ladies and
it's
gentlemen.
unfortunate.
But absolutely. But this comes from Dawson Dynamite. When these questions are a little bit late, so these are like earlier. So
Right.
he says, top 5 matches you watched / reviewed in order from when you retired. So before you retired and
Ooh.
everything, what was the top 5 matches you watched / reviewed? And I know everybody in the audience moved way closer to the stage because they want to know this question.
There,
So,
there's two questions I was waiting on. This is one of them. Uh, Somebody wanted a top 10 though, so I wrote down a top
oh,
10
it's right
actually.
after. Oh, it's right after this.
Oh, that's right after this.
Yeah.
Ooh, fuck. I might just answer both. I might just answer both then, because
All right. All right. All right.
they're gonna intersect. So let's
All right.
look, because
Sounds
I
good.
wrote this down a while ago, trying to think about this. I
So you
have
want to go
my
ahead and
top 10
do the
bias
top 10?
picks,
Oh,
and I have my
there's
top
bias.
10 like objective picks.
Okay, so there's a bias and objective picks. All right.
Because there's obviously like matches I love a lot more than other people, like the Julia Heist ladder match. That's not been a secret. That's my number one
Yeah,
on my
absolutely.
favorite matches I've called. But
Mhm.
starting from number 10 on the bias list,
Okay.
we
All right.
have Microphone versus Shep Bandicoot.
Okay. Okay. Honestly, yeah.
My one and only match. It holds a place there just because I enjoyed being a part of it, being the only screeny wrestler to do it in that company.
Hmm.
So I was like, hey, yeah, it's an honor, I guess. Number 9, let's see. Number 9 is Ruby versus Bandy. I had
Oh.
Ruby versus Bandy in my bias picks for number 9 because this is the match I wish I was there for live. I heard a lot of hype about this match in the summer. It's one match that I regret not being there for. So that's why it's not any higher. It's a great match, but I just couldn't put it any higher because of that. Number 8 is Stein versus Kai, their 5-star classic on Rundown. Another show which they actually got a standing ovation from me after that performance. It was a hell of, and they didn't expect it at all. They were like, oh, we did okay. And then I came back there. I'm like, yeah, you guys gave me a lot to think about, and their entire mind changed at that point. They're like, oh shit, oh shit, really?
Like, oh shit, that ass?
But no, the crowd was super hyped for that match. Uh, they had a little bit of a story going with Kai too, who kept
Hmm.
desperately trying to win the belt and failing miserably over and over again. Uh, so it just kind of it built off that from a story perspective. Number
Okay.
7.
Number 7.
Stein versus Tom Hernandez versus Paragon at Rough Landing. I think that's 3. Rough Landing 3.
Yeah.
This match is high up for one reason only, and that's the cash in.
Oh yeah.
The match itself, the match between Tom and Stein, I would say is probably closer to like a 4.25 without the cash in. But the
Hmm.
cash in was so memorable, and I was there for it because I was caught so off guard by it that it bumped it up to a whole new level for me. And the crowd got super behind Paragon when he was winning, and there was people booing the shit out of him, buying into the heel heat. No, it was.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen any cash-ins. That's actually, I think, the only cash-in that I got to see live, which is insane. It's 2 years. 2 years looking at this. Number 6 is, these two are going by different names at this point, but this is Banana Bread versus Shay IDK in Impact Day 100.
Damn. Okay, that's a. Well, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, this is probably the best Impact match. I don't think it's recorded anymore. I had to watch this one back. I wasn't there at the show, but I did their
Hmm.
promo video going up to this. This is for their United States title, I believe. But I would say like it was so smooth. It was lacking just one little piece, and that was the audience. But everything was so right for them on that night. That was the closest that either two of them have gotten to getting that 5-star point.
Hmm.
But no, it was definitely the best match that I had seen in Impact.
Absolutely.
Now I can take a breath for a second. Number 5.
Oh boy.
Oh, here's the top 5. Oh boy. So we have, for my bias pick, number 5, Stein Time versus Dawson Dynamite.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna be in the bias top 5.
Yeah, this one's in there for me mainly because of the story that was going into it, and I got to
Mm-hmm.
follow it through for months. I enjoy when a story actually gets to play out in a matchup and it's not like ignored. For example, like the Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes Roman Reigns one, where John Cena is the one who comes in to fight Solo Sikoa because John Cena got taken out by Solo Sikoa, so it makes sense for him to try to get his revenge and take down the Bloodline. Stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
like where it actually
Yeah.
connects to a later date. Not like the Undertaker fucking choke slamming the Rock of all people. Like that's a very different example in that same match where it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work as well. I kind of agree with Meltzer's rating on that actually, like just because of that one reason alone. But no, it was a fantastic story match. The build up was amazing for it, and like Dawson really he proved himself to me in this match because at this point I kind of view Dawson as like a mid card, upper mid carder to maybe a world champion in like a year or so, and he had a lot going into this, and I told him that going into it. I said, you need to prove yourself, and you need to show out on this match, or else
Mm-hmm.
what's it for? And then he proved me wrong. So I didn't think he was actually going to do it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think he was going to pull it off, but he did. So I was very proud of him that day.
Absolutely.
Number 4, Ruby
Oh
versus
boy.
DMK, the very first 5-star match.
Oh yeah, that one's got history to it.
This one I saw so much. This is one match where I was like, I think it was my first standing ovation. I've given a couple, and I'm going to get to that one next. But I gave a standing ovation for this one mainly because Ruby and DMK, they did stuff that I had not seen at all up to this point. It had been almost a year, and
Mm-hmm.
I had not seen any of this type of wrestling from these two. Ruby Goomba stomped over old man's head and then jumped into the ring to hit a move on DMK. And DMK I think he had the best selling I've ever seen. Nobody's come close to his selling in that match, mainly because he was actually hurt. He was actually injured, and uh, he just couldn't hide that. So, uh, DMK, props to you for your selling on that. I wish I got to see more of stuff since then. But no, it's like one of those matches that I wish that everybody else could see because it was just one of those moments that you had to be there for.
Absolutely.
Number 3, Ruby versus Inko in the
Oh,
I Quit match.
there it is. Yep.
I've been on record by saying that this is a match that actually I was at a stage where I was very fatigued with Rec Room Wrestling. That ever since Stein didn't want to be the reviewer anymore, and I came back, there was a point where I was just like, I'm getting so fucking bored watching these matches. It feels so similar. And everything's the same, and and then this match happened, and I felt like actual emotion. And there's one person in the crowd who's like, Ruby, it's like a child, and he's like cheering on Ruby, and he's treating this like it's a real fucking sport. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. That's incredible.
That's like when you get
I, I
the
was so
fans
happy
into it.
seeing that because yeah, it felt like it meant something, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like something that had been lacking for months. And when I saw that, I was like, thank God, thank God I saw this one.
Like finally.
I was like, thank God this one happened.
Also,
And
one of those good
then let's
matches.
see. So I already said number one's the Julie Heist match. I talked about it last time, I
Mm-hmm.
think, when I was on
Yeah.
here. That's number 1. But my number 2 is Vacation Guy versus Kai at ROH A New Start. And this is the second time I think I gave a standing ovation for because the crowd was electric for this one. The crowd was unlike anything I had seen up to that point. And they were super behind Vacation Guy's first world title win. I was there. Old man was bringing the energy. I think if I got to rewatch it, things might be different in the rating. But I just remember I think selling's always the problem when it comes to the end of a 5-star match, because there's always something selling wise that goes wrong. And I catch it every time, and I'm like, fuck, now I gotta say something about it. No, that's another match I really wish was recorded, and if I can go back and watch it again, I would. It was awesome. Like, they got a standing ovation. I was just left in shock. So that's the bias picks. I won't go into much detail about the objective ones, but here's my objective list now.
All right.
Let's see. Number 10. I had to think long and hard about this one. Number 10, Mr. Goober versus Power. This one match got ruined because of a kendo stick. The 5-star, they almost had a 5-star rating, but the kendo stick wasn't cooperating with them, and that's what fucked them up out of that rating. And that's the only part that looked like it was staged. Everything felt so smooth in their transitions into spots. It was hardcore. The story going into it was great too. The ending, the finish was awesome. It was everything that you wanted from a story, but you had that one moment that fucked everything that they were working towards up. And
honestly, you should never have your own weapons with your name on it. That's for that reason. That's why you shouldn't name your weapons. Honestly, that's just the curse about putting your name on things.
It's a bad luck charm. But I told these two, I'm like, so there's 2 matches I want to go back and rewatch again, if they get a rematch. Goober and Power, they're supposed to have a rematch, so I told them to send it my way, and I'm going to take a look at it when they do, because that's one of them. And speaking of the next one, number 9 is Ruby versus Bandy.
Okay.
Another match that had a very similar problem with it, where the final minutes or so just didn't work out selling-wise. The finisher fest going along with that. I know he calls it signatures, his V-trigger, or his head stomp, whatever the fuck it his head
whatever
maneuver.
the fucking moves are.
But there was 3 bandy lariats or something like that in the span, because what would happen is they'd hit a signature or a finisher, they'd kick out, and less than a second later he's already getting back up to his feet to set up the next spot, because they have that timer. The timer will fuck you up. And that's exactly what happened to them, is that the timer fucked them up and it forced them to rush the finish. So I told those 2, have this match again with bigger stakes and more time, and I think that this is going to be my new number 1 if you do. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Oh, well, we'll see at ROH Roof's on Fire. Let's see how that goes. Let's hope nothing happens to that match. Let's hope.
See. Number 8.
Oh, it's on C. Never mind. Oh, my bad.
Oh, it's on C. No, I thought it was Roof on Fire.
Yeah, I was on Roof's on Fire. Yeah, that's what they kept saying, was Roof's on Fire. But now I guess apparently it's on the boat now. It's on the big old cruise ship now. Well, nobody asked about you versus Vacation. Nobody asked about you versus Vacation. We're talking about Ruby versus Bandy, pal.
Yeah, there's a couple names that are going to appear here a lot, because that's just what they did, objectively at least. Number 8, Kai versus Danny Diamond at Rough Landing 4.
Oh.
This is another match where I looked at it and I said there was one moment that ruined the 5-star.
I still remember that.
And this moment is Danny Diamond left alone at the top, where he's in reach of the belt, and he's standing, there's nothing stopping him, standing there, turning around to Kai, and instead of just going and grabbing the belt, which I knew he wasn't going to, he decided he was going to hit a really amazing looking shooting star press. but I said it in my reaction, I'm like, damn it! Because I knew in that moment, I was like, that's it, that's gone now. You fucked it. And now every moment like that is pulling a Danny Diamond where you're at the top of I'll see that in ladder matches. I'm like, oh, they pulled the Danny Diamond.
Danny Downfall. Honestly.
But yeah, a fun match for sure. Number 7, one that nobody will probably see coming, and I think is like the most contested 5-star match I've given. Tom Hernandez versus Local Wave. This one was at my final show, and people thought I should have given this to Alex and Z-Man for their Hell in a Cell match.
Nah, they don't need it.
No, they don't deserve it. And but I re-reviewed that match, and I rewatched Tom and Local Wave as well, and I remembered why I gave Tom and Local Wave that spot. It just nothing felt wrong about that match, and I kept trying to find these like little nitpick things that are wrong. Yeah. And every single time I did, I came back to like, because there's plenty of matches where I've done that, and I thought, okay, well, if I do it for this one, I'm going to have to do it for this one, and this one, and this one, ones I've already like given the ratings to. So it would dock those ones down, because I can't just, I have to be a little consistent in what I do. So that's a part of the reviewing process, is you got to be consistent with it. You can't just say, oh, well, it doesn't work for this one, but it works for this one. You have to give a reason why. And this match, I just didn't have any reasons. After like 3 hours of pondering, I was sitting there. I'm like, I've got nothing. You guys got it.
Yeah, it's over.
Number 6 is the Iron Man match between Z-Man and Inko. The first Inko 5-star match on this list. I think Inko's, everyone talks about him great now, but I would say he's like, I call him underrated, at least in my mind, because in my head, whenever Stein and Ruby were having their like GOAT debates, you had Inko, who's at the same level as Ruby and Stars. And, like, I never really thought about that until like last week, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Hey, that's true.
Wait a minute. Inko, mediocre. Inko's mediocre at best.
At this point, there was only one other Iron Man match I'd seen up to this point, and that was the rematch between Ruby and DMK. And that one disappointed. That was very disappointing, which most like rematches for 5 stars tend to be. There's only been a couple that seem to be pretty good following their like rematch.
Inko over Ruby, honestly.
looking at his comment there.
Yeah, I was just looking at Stein just posting Inko over Ruby. I'm like, yeah, honestly, yeah, kind of true.
Yeah, you knew I knew the top 7 had to be the 5-star matches, because like that's been my grading system objectively for the longest time. So the top 7 was always going to be that, but it was harder to find like what the top 10 would be, like the rest of those. But with Z-Man and Inko, they balled out for 30 minutes. There was another great match on there with Shay, like on that same card, but it gets overshadowed by this Iron Man match. What does this say? Shep is like a brother.
I still remember that card. I think it was the Iron.
Was that you versus Shay? Yeah. I knew you were. Shay. I was thinking of that. That was going to be an honorable mention. If I had to go longer, that was an honorable mention. But
funny enough, throughout the entire match, I stepped on glass. So I was wrestling with glass on my feet, and so that's why we had to stop like at some parts, because I was like, shit, I can't do this. He's like,
you stepped on
finish it. I'm like,
glass?
Yeah, like because my frame had fallen over, and so I didn't realize it. So I stepped down on it, and I was just like, let's just let's finish it. I'm like, we're already at the end. We'll just fucking go for it. I'm like casually, but suffering in pain.
It's like crying. He's like, let's get this over with.
Let's fucking do it. Let's get this over with. God damn it. But it was a good match, honestly. But I can see your ratings. How.
All right, so now we move on to the top 5, and again, these are all the 5. These are 5 stars that I've covered. So it was harder to try to figure these out. There's a couple names that still haven't been mentioned yet here, so they're going to be mentioned for like the next 5 entries. So, in my opinion, number 5, in my opinion, the worst of Stein's 5-star classics is Kai. Stein versus Kai. That's my number 5. I already talked into detail about that. It was his first five. It probably, actually, technically, it would be his second if the re-review didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
If I just gave it the 5 back then. But Stein versus Kai, I've already talked about this one, why I enjoyed it so much. But personally, I just think that his other 2 bouts were a little bit higher. And same with Ruby's 2 bouts. I thought they were a little higher than this one as well. So that's where it's placed right here. Number 4 is Stein's second 5-star match versus Mike Towers at Unleashed.
Yeah, the guy that hasn't dropped his balls yet.
This is Mike Towers' best performance, and arguably his, like, one of the best characters that I've seen in Rec Room Wrestling was his heel Mike Towers, the GOAT Mike Towers character, who was just an obnoxious piece of shit. you have to pay attention to him. He's like, because nobody's gonna want to cheer on him. Nobody's wanting to cheer for him, and that's the point. Is that nobody's gonna cheer for him. He's gonna keep being a dick because it works.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he needed to do. And the redemption story for Mike is like, this is the first time that Mike had lost, like after he lost the belt, this is his one shot of redemption to be back into the spotlight. And that was like the whole battle for him was, how do I get back into the spotlight? And he won't stay down. And the story builds from there. Mike Towers still with one of the best finishers ever, the stunner. But no, after re-reviews, I think I said pacing was the problem the first time I watched it, and I went back and I thought, I've reviewed longer matches that have had a little bit worse of a pace than this one. Like, this one felt good from start to finish. That's how I ultimately went back, because I went back and undid my one criticism of the match. But yeah, that's where I would say this is at number 4. Oh, here we get into the good ones now. We get into the juicy ones. All right, number 3, Ruby versus Inko in the I Quit match. My third like objective favorite match. I've talked about the 5-star matches on a spectrum since then. There's the left side of it, which is it's all match based. There's not really much story going into this, but it's all match based, and the match is just incredible. That's where some of these 5 stars land, is in that metric. There's a middle spot, but then you have the right spot, which is where the match is heavily relying on the storytelling, and the storytelling is conveyed in the matchup. So you have a spectrum of a left side and a right side of this match, and where Ruby and Inko are dead set in the middle, where the story is fantastic, but also the match is fantastic. Like, the story isn't overpowering the match, but the match isn't overpowering the story either. That's where this one sits. And I don't know. Like I said, it just kind of brought me back. Like, I had a reason to give a shit watching this match, and that's something that all these matches need to have, is like a reason for me to care. Because if I don't care, or if anyone else doesn't care, why the fuck are we here? why am I sitting here and watching this match? So that's where I put Ruby and Inko here.
All right. I definitely can see that.
I feel like I've been talking for like 45 minutes.
Nah, you're good. We're not even at the 40-minute mark.
That's how long this first question is. Basically, the second question's basically been. Okay, so now the question after that was me trying to figure out, well, what do I think is more important? Do I think that the match itself is more important, or do I think the story is more important? So I had to choose between the top 2 choices here, and my number 2 ended up being Stein versus Dawson and their legendary storytelling matchup. I think at the end of the day, like, the story is awesome, and I love watching personally, I love watching a story more than I like just like really good action. That's why it's hard for me to get into AEW stories, because sometimes the storytelling's not quite there, but the matches are like fucking phenomenal. Objectively though, like, the wrestling is just better when it comes to those matches. And with this match, I had plenty of people coming to me like, oh, they did this, there was this going on. And every single time I had a rebuttal, but in my head I was thinking, there's a lot of like jumping around and using the story as a defense in this match rather than just letting the matchup play out for themselves. And Dawson, once again, you proved me wrong, and you balled out here. But I could not in my right mind put it over the number one, which is objectively the best match I've seen, which is Ruby versus DMK, the first ever 5-star match, and the lost 5-star match. I put this one at 1 for the same reasons that I just described, which is I thought the matchup itself was a little bit more important than the story. They went on to an ROH house show with no build and drew my attention, gave me a reason to give a shit, innovated in this matchup, and sold their asses off to get that finish. In my opinion, like, that's what they did. Like, they took a nothing situation where nobody had like any reason to care, because again, it's a house show. Who the fuck, like, why would you? But they took that situation and they turned it into a diamond. So I just, like, thinking about it more, it took me a while, but I couldn't just let that one go. I thought that that's the number one right there. And no match that I've seen has come close since.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean,
so yeah,
finally...
that's the matches for you.
I think
I need to get a drink of water after that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think finally, now that a question's been answered, everybody wanting to finally know what was the top 10. Well, here you go. Finally, after so long. You wanted it.
Like I mentioned, it was so much harder to get like the lower 10 than it was, because I already had the rating system, but then I had to go back through all the other 4.75s, look objectively through those, and was like, okay, which one's going to be more important?
Absolutely. Well, we're in our second question, but we still got like a ton more. So,
all right, I'm ready.
We're gonna mosey on to this one. I don't even know why the fuck this is here, but opinion on TJF. I don't know why.
Let me guess, TJF's the one who wrote it.
Yeah.
So I don't know the whole situation with what went down early on with TJF, but I always saw that there was stuff with TJF that he was good at in ring. Like, he came in during Impact's later time, faced off against Big Bearded Bully, and was like consistently putting on like good performances against like these opponents that may not be as good. I don't know if I can name much that was memorable that I've seen in TJF's run, but like I do see promptly, if he keeps going, I'll definitely see more. Actually, who the fuck am I kidding? I'm basically out the door at this point. What the hell am I talking about? That's up to you guys to figure out. But from my time with TJF, yeah, I thought he was all right. I thought he was an all right performer, and nothing, like, there was always like the sense that he could do more, but it just never quite got there.
Absolutely. Well, we'll give you a big, difficult question. Smithy says, once one championship you could win from any company, including IRL.
Including, oh, fuck, yeah, I'm not going to Rec Room then. What the, why would I go to Rec Room if I could get an IRL title? An IRL championship, but I'd just win the WWE title. Like, that's probably the most prestigious title I could win. Like, I could go for the AEW World title, which actually, that does look incredible, but like the WWE title is like something that everybody knows. Like, everybody's seen the variations of it. So yeah, why wouldn't I want to go after the WWE title? You good over there?
Yeah, apologies.
You looking for the next question?
Yeah,
You got like
I
a
was
fly
like
on him. He's
fucking.
like swatting the fly in
I
front
was,
of him.
yeah, I was fucking trying to figure out where all my questions disappeared. Well, this comes
There's like
from
a whole
Mr.
text string.
Boobies again. Yeah, I have like a whole like Google Doc, but I kind of lost it. This comes from Mr. Booby again. What are some of your favorite sports?
Some of my favorite sports. So I've always been a big football fan. I played when I was a kid, like in third grade. I got into flag football. My mom was very like hesitant on tackle football growing up, so I was playing tackle. I was playing like flag football growing up. My dad was a coach one year, and we had like flag football. They do like the like actual NFL teams for your teams. So we were the 49ers, my like in like third grade, and then like fourth to fifth grade we were the Steelers one point. Then we went to the Packers, and we were the Packers the next couple of years. And uh, football I went to tackle football later on, but like it's always been there. I'm doing fantasy now and catching up with all that. Oh, he said spots.
Nah, we're sports now. So fuck you.
Did I just mishear him or something? I thought he said sports.
Nah, we're gonna talk about sports now.
I'll talk about spots after this, but like football, I played basketball in high school. I wasn't on like a team. I just did it for rec, but I was on the football team. I did that. I was a lineman, heavy kid, heavy and tall kid. Uh, but no, football and basketball are the best. I like hockey now too, but it takes a lot to get into these other sports. But as for spots,
Hmm.
as for like a rec room wrestling spot that I saw, my favorites. Oh, even though I hate why it happened, my favorite spot still has to be that Danny Diamond shooting star press. Although I hate it, it looked like on replay. It still looks incredible that he did that. It was like I just wish it was in different circumstances, man. I've, I've seen some absurd spots where like somebody getting shoved off a boat. I've seen like the thumbtack spots, which some of them have looked really well, like really well done. Dog collar ones. Fucking what else have I seen? I've seen like actual murders. I saw somebody with an ambulance one time. I saw somebody just with an ambulance crashing into people. There was somebody who pulled out a gun on a live show too. It was just like that was a part of the show, and I just was like, all right, fuck it, I'm leaving. And there's, I was like, I'm not watching that. But no, the Danny Diamond one, and then no, I'd probably just say the Danny Diamond one because there's some from the ladder match that I liked a lot, like the jewelry heist one. Like Kai, I think it was Kai. He falls like from the top of this scaffolding down through the announce table, and that's like the last that I see of him in the whole match. And I barely missed it too because I was like right there, but that was actually insane for that time. But yeah, I think those two are probably what I would give.
Absolutely. All right then. Well, this one comes from Mr. Goober again. What is your favorite weapon you've seen used?
I'm thinking about that one. I think the thumbtacks. I think that just the idea of thumbtacks and how they're used with that, I really enjoy the thumbtacks because you put on the costume afterwards. If you sell it properly, it looks deadly. Thumbtacks for the win.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, moseying on to the next question. We keep bringing up Rough Landing 4. So
Mhm.
finally, we're just gonna talk about that match. Kai versus Danny at Rough Landing
Right.
4. They basically just wanted to see a breakdown of that match.
I think they were just talking. I don't know if that's what they were wanting. I was trying to read that earlier. I was like, what exactly are they asking with this? Uh, but no, it was like an X. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the Impact Wrestling version, like an X Division ladder match where they have it just up there in an X. That's the first time I've ever seen that before. Uh, I did think Danny was going to win that match. by the way. Until he was like looking around for that shooting star press, I thought he was gonna win. But then he did that, and I knew instantly Kai's gonna win because he's not. If he would have won, he would have just grabbed it. But uh, the match was great. The spots were great. That's one that I think one of them tried to tell me to re-review that one, and I was just like, no, you're not gonna win that. You're not gonna win that bout. I've had people where they'll talk about a match and they want it re-reviewed, but I told them like in the review like this is probably not like this is why you did it and it's objectively wrong, but they still want a re-review for it, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
that's still going to be the issue when I come back to it, is because that's a glaring issue. So there's no way to get around that. But it was a great main event. It's the last match that I ever called on commentary. So yeah, a little place of history there.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Goober does the exact same thing. Him and Power at lockdown, or whatever the fuck it's called.
I went into detail a little bit about this one. I was gonna say, yeah, I might just skip over this a little bit
Wait,
more.
that's
But
true. Yeah, let's skip this one. Yeah.
yeah, we talked about this one already.
Yeah, Goober. Yeah, stop getting your fucking ego stroked. Anyways, this comes from Rise. In your eyes,
Okay.
what do you think Impact Wrestling failed after being the biggest UK company at that time?
Oh, ownership. Easily ownership. There was always a problem with ownership, and I saw it from day one. Taxi and Banana ran the company together, and then Shay got brought on, but it was always Taxi who was running things. And those three would clash heads constantly. And I'm like the bystander. I would tell them like you're in the wrong, like because I'm the outside perspective looking in most times. That's my privilege of being a commentator. Is I don't have to give a fuck about how your company's doing. I can just tell you what's going wrong and how to fix it. And I told them like, hey, you're not listening to them, and like if you're gonna act like this, you gotta be able to manage. And of course he didn't listen, but he's one of those people where like you'll tell him exactly what he's doing wrong, and he'll be like, okay, I appreciate you talking, and then that's it. Like no action after that. That's the problem, because there's no communication following up those messages of like I'm feeling wronged, let's fix this, and there was just none of that. So that's why Impact Wrestling died, is because of when I saw it, it was obviously just Taxi who was the majority of these problems. Mr. Know-It-All left too because of that same reason. Banana was he was frustrated and furious. Shay, I don't even know what Shay's part in the role was. he was like the third owner who was just labeled as an owner most times. But that's why the downfall of Impact happened, is because as soon as those guys left, they knew it was going to fail, because Taxi's problems were still going to carry over to whoever else he promoted. And were you ever promoted as an owner at one point, like a general manager or whatnot?
I was at one point. It was like at the very, 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 very fucking end. And he was like, you need to help me. You need to help me fix this because, I'm by myself and I can't really do much. And I'm like, all right, I'll help you. But there was
because that's exactly the problem that they were describing. He proved like Banana and Shay and Mr. Norrell, he proved all of them right, because that was their main thing, is like, yeah, without us, you're kind of screwed on this. And they left, and that's exactly what went down with Impact, is that once they left, things went down the shitter for him. So he has no one else to blame but himself there.
Absolutely. And that was the one thing that I didn't like about Taxi. Is like he didn't want to see the bigger picture. So
he also booked matches with a wheel, which I knew was story-wise was going to fail. Like he would book matches, and he'd book the winner with a wheel, so it was always fair. But it never felt like that. And I just think having a wheel for a winner is stupid, because narratively it's going to throw everything off balance. I'm going to look at a match where it's like, oh, it's obvious this one should win based on the story, but then he just doesn't because of the wheel. So it's like, dude, you just fucked up your own story.
But Mr. Know-It-All says, what is your main focus that you have fully retired from regular wrestling?
My main focus now is just life after college, man. I want to find a job, and I plan to make YouTube videos for a little bit longer, just as a hobby. Maybe things will take off. We're almost close to beating my personal goal, which is we have a friend who's like a little bit higher in sub counts than we are. So I just want to pass him, and that's my goal. 2,000 would be nice too, but uh, YouTube-wise, it's just more of a hobby. It's always been mainly a hobby for us. If it takes off, great. But we've done everything we can to try to push that process on, like analytically with like search engine optimization and whatnot, like the YouTube Shorts. There's only so much you can do.
Definitely.
At
Yeah.
one point, it's either luck or people just don't want to watch it the way you think they do. If you're looking at a video and you think, yeah, like this is great. I love this video. It works, and like you get no views from it. There's a very good chance that there's three problems. Either your title sucks, your thumbnail sucks, or your video sucks.
Or
If
you
you have a
just
great
suck.
title, or you go ahead and finish that, or you suck what?
All right. Or you just suck at doing commentary. Because sometimes when you do voiceovers and stuff like that, sometimes, it's not the best. It's not not the greatest.
I've had some
But
shitty
it's mainly
voiceover
those.
takes for videos. I like my old Minecraft Olympics, like ones were always kind of shitty, but except for the
Honestly,
finale,
I
that
can
one
never.
was great. But no, go ahead.
I was like, I could never, especially with like voiceovers. They're fucking. I literally gotta look up at a script or something. Yes, I script my shit. So I have like written down because I have social anxiety because I can't understand sometimes when I'm like talking into a microphone or like doing a video like this. That's why I have like a Google Doc to explain me like what I need to talk about because sometimes like I struggle with talking
I
about
can't
certain
stress this fact
stuff.
enough though for like people for you guys growing up and whatnot. Like the one thing that you need to try to learn the next couple of years with communication is just thinking on your feet. I can't stress that enough as like how important that is because with any like job that you want to go into, any person you talk to, any relationship you want to build, if you can't think on your feet and you can't just have those moments of like quick thoughts like that, you're going to struggle for a long time. Like you could be the best at whatever you decide to learn, but if you can't communicate why you're the best at that, no one's going to listen to you. So my advice, if you're going to build on your communication, learn to think on your feet. Just do little things like maybe talk with your friends and do like little improv skits together. That's actually what I did 4 years ago. Was like talking with my friend and we just played off each other. And uh, that I had a sales job too about a year or so later where I got to carry that over. So I would say think on your feet and then translate those skills that you already have.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Well, next question comes from Evil Eye. What do you think about me taking over WRW?
What do I think about you taking? I think you fucking suck. I think.
Fuck! Fuck! I'm shutting down WRW.
No, I was happy to see that WRW got a new owner because Goji was like, yeah, nobody just wants to do it. I'm like, I'm sure there's probably somebody who's going to want to do it. you have you have one of the biggest companies there. Do something with it. Sell it to somebody. Like you could actually make it go on farther. I think the fact that you stepped up for it was great. I haven't seen anything since then, just because like I already left at that point. But
Absolutely.
no, I'm just kind of happy that things are starting to go a little bit longer. In my head, I thought Record Wrestling was going to die like maybe a year or two later. So we'll see how that plays out.
Definitely. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next question. If
Dude, this crowd got so much smaller. After that
the
match
crowd got so
question, they were
much
just like,
smaller. Yeah.
All right,
They're
I'm
like,
out of here.
I'm done.
You got a
I'm
couple of people who
hoping
are
we
still
could
here.
still continue because where I'm at, it's thundering. There's storming outside. Power has been going out for me. So let's hope that doesn't happen here. If it does, we will reroute this for another day. Either that or
We'll
move
have to
to...
film part 2 or something.
Yeah, we'll have to film part 2. So this video won't fully come out in case, because I'll have to record a second part to this. But we'll move on to the next question. This
Sounds
comes
good.
from...
God damn, we've been doing this for like an hour.
Yeah.
Holy
This comes from
shit.
Ruby. What is your dream
Okay.
match?
What is my dream match? I've seen a lot of dream matches. I would probably want to see. God, my recording just told me it's been an hour too. It's like, dude, you got to save the video now if you want us to keep it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I gotta save it.
My dream match is probably, so I want to see Bandy come back and like do a full run. I don't know who with. I would like to see like, I guess it's nostalgia thinking like what a dream match would look like. But I think like, you know how like Mike Towers and Vacation Guy had their match at what's it called, Jackpot?
Yeah.
I would want like prime Vacation Guy versus very heel Mike Towers. I'd want to see the build for that match, and I'd want to see that. I don't know where at. I don't care where at, but it's like if that character, the biggest heel versus arguably the biggest face, I want to see that match. That's the one I'd want to see is my dream match.
Definitely. A very good dream match indeed. I don't know where it would happen, honestly. Yeah, that's the one thing that's
It's too late now.
yeah,
That's why it's a dream to me because I'm like Mike
yeah.
Towers' Zora is gone, Vacation Guy's still rocking it, but like it's still not the same. It's been a year.
Maybe until
So,
maybe the day that Mike Towers' nuts fall. Maybe then.
what's up, guys? I'm Mike Towers now.
Guys, I'm here. I'm better.
You all suck. You guys aren't on my level.
Honestly, that's probably what's gonna end up happening.
It's the same promo. It's all the same like shitty promos, but it's like you guys suck at this. Like you guys aren't on my level, and it's like all
You can't be asking questions. It's not even at the fucking end.
Stop saying stuff.
Stop it. You know what? You're banned. You need to leave. But we might have to put a little pause in this, as I just got a warning on my my screen over here that I have like literally right in front of me right here. There's shortage of power in the neighborhood next door, so I know probably my power is gonna end up getting cut out at any moment. So
I would say at this moment, yeah, it might be safe to finish this up.
Might be
later.
safe to finish it up in a bit. So we will cut to the second part when we have the chance to record that. But I mean, for an hour long footage so far, not bad.
Yeah, there's still one big question that I was expecting to hear, and I haven't heard
Definitely.
that one yet.
But all right, we will catch you guys in the next time for part 2. All right, and you moved my camera. Oh my god, 1,000 feet of my. This is why you should stay retired. Anyways,
That
there you
is
go,
my
chat.
flaw.
That's why he's the biggest bitch in the retirement home right now. He gets bullied by like the hospice patients.
The hospice patients. He beat you in chess is what he's been telling me. Is that he beat you in chess.
I don't think he even knows how to spell chess.
But all right, let's continue with
You dirty old
our-
bastard. That's what he's saying in the distance out there.
All right, so I believe we have 6 questions left. So let's start. Let's start it off with KDA. I believe this is Shadow Beast. says, what are things newer talent should focus on?
We're not even going to acknowledge that like a couple weeks that have passed since the last one. we're just jumping right in.
Well, if you want to talk about your dream match, I know we kind of spoke about it before we cut off. Yeah, we did speak about it, but I mean, if you want to give it a quick rundown again on it, well, we totally can.
I actually don't remember what I said. That's how long it's been since we've recorded this.
Well,
I'm just going to, fuck it. As long as we got that answer recorded, I'm good.
Hell yeah.
All right, so what are the things new talent should focus on? Is that what you said?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. I think the most important thing for new talent right now is to, you need to be memorable. I've seen plenty of superstars come and go who just aren't memorable at all. Some people are great in the ring, but if they don't have like a character or like a reason for me to give a shit, I don't think I want to watch you. Like I will get bored so quickly if that's how it's going to be. So I think for those new talent, come up with like what's your gimmick? What's that one thing that separates you from everybody else? And then run with it. Like carry it through. Make that my reason to care about you.
Definitely. I think that's one of the big factors. I also think putting initiative to over, I know when you start, I know you don't have like a lot of the, a lot of the movesets that a lot of, older generation has, especially with like the newer generation coming into wrestling and all that. I think when you have the initiative and the strive to always move up that ladder, I think that's what also helps with the new talent. I think it's just having the drive of always pushing your limits. I think that's also another thing that a lot of the newer talent should focus on. Not only just like being good in ring. I do definitely think that, the selling, knowing move sets, I think that definitely does help. But having that agility to just keep pushing forward, I think that's definitely another thing that the newer talent should focus on. Because I know sometimes when the newer talent, when they come in, it's a big toll, because you're looking at these big, like, people on pedestals, and you're like, I want to be like them. But when you do that, you're making your expectations way too big. I think definitely you need to shrink them down to size and work on yourself coming in. Shut the fuck up. But when you come in, I definitely do think it's mainly your focus.
Is that Oliver Twist out there who's yelling out? Is it? Please, sir, may I have some more pudding?
Please, sir.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Yep.
It's gonna be so funny when you edit that.
Yep, that's gonna be.
You're gonna just hear that randomly. You're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is he saying?
I want to hear his fucking voice in the background, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. Yeah, that's.
Movesets will adapt all the time. Your characters should adapt too with time, but like if your character's overshadowed by your moveset, like don't get me wrong, a cool moveset's cool. It's not the most important thing though. Like it's obviously not the most important thing.
A cool moveset's cool. Nice one, Shep.
I definitely do agree. Well, and then I think with the new wrestlers, hopefully you guys take a little bit from that and adapt it to yourself. Definitely. I think that's something you should definitely strive to do. This next question comes from Alex Frost.
Oh,
well, no,
who's someone you think... Fuck that guy, man. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Who's someone you think has improved so much, like character-wise, promo, or wrestler-wise? Basically, so let's go back to that question. Who has improved? I think. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Story making, character, promo, and wrestler-wise. That was the fourth thing. There you go.
Ooh, I'd like us to answer this in different ways. Story making. When they say story making, are they referring to like a booker who makes stories, or are they just saying like in ring, a person who's good at telling a story? That's what I'm thinking too. God, well, I mean, it's been a while since I've reviewed a match, but I just got done the time jump is now passed, and the Ruby Bandy rematch has actually happened. So
Yeah.
I can actually talk about this at this point. I think Bandy has done a great job. Bandy did a great job with like improving his story in ring, because like I think that's the one thing he was lacking for the most part with his in-ring work. He's a great promo. He knows how to he knows how to make me care about a match beforehand, but during a match he doesn't have a good way of conveying it, or at least he didn't when he was in DPCW. With that match he had with Ruby though, like he was a very big highlight of that performance. So like his storytelling and just how he carried himself in ring, very different from what he's done before. Character-wise, I got to go with Bruiser. Bruiser, he's done a great job of revamping himself, making me care about him. Because I cared about Bruiser when he was in the Union and whatnot, but he always felt like he was the second guy to somebody else, like he was a henchman. That's how his character was always presented to me, and now I get to see him go on his own 2 feet. Promo-wise, I don't fucking know. You guys are all bad at promos. You guys are all pretty terrible at promos. And then wrestling-wise, well, there's been a couple who have been pretty good. I got to remember back to the last matches I've seen, because not including that match. What was the last one I covered? God, it's been fuck. It's been a while.
Wasn't Broken Skull was like the last thing you covered, like full show, wasn't it?
Storm time!
There was probably like one after that. I know there was one after that, but
Was it?
I don't know. I guess like seeing. I think I see Goober doing some good
Locked
work.
Away.
That's why I want to see his.
FC Locked Away. Yeah.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see his match
Mr.
with power, and then get a rematch. That's what I've been looking forward to. I think Goober's improved a lot. Jetstream, he's always improving. He was pretty good back then, like 2 years ago in Impact, but he's improved a lot since then. So like in ring, you don't want to miss like what Jetstream does. So I would say probably those two if I had to say who's improved the most wrestling wise.
Definitely. All right.
What the Sigma? What the Sigma?
All right. This next question comes from Alex Frost again. Shep, why did you give Taxi on screen a 4.75?
Mr. Goober! Mr.
I remember. I know exactly what match you're talking about too. Well, actually, no. Fuck, he has 2.
Mr.
He has 2 of these.
Oh, he has 2?
So okay. So the first one I gave it to him. This was heavily based on the story going in. It was an Impact's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view in the summer of like 2022. The feud going into it was an IC title match between Taxi's character, which I forgot the fucking guy's name, because he had like 11 different characters, and like Banana Bread. Banana Bread was like the face. I don't know, Skullfucker, maybe that was his name. I don't know his character's name.
What?
I don't know what his character's name was. It was something. He had like spiky hair.
Oh, I think.
No, it wasn't Taxi. It wasn't Taxi Taker yet.
Fuck.
This happened before that. The Spike Freak? Is that it?
I know what you're talking about.
That might be it.
It was that one character that I remember. I think Plasma knows so much about, because Plasma was like, "Don't ever bring the Spike Freak back. Never."
Spike Freak. Okay, so it must have been Spike Freak. But yeah, there was this whole storyline going in. The storyline going in was terrible. Like I hated the story going in. I hated his character so much. I hate the Supernatural characters so much because they're played for laughs in my head, but they're all taken seriously. Anyway, the story goes in. It was a basic story about like trying to get his friend back from this like dark side that he was in, which I thought I was like, okay, that's a decent concept for a story. And the match happens. It was actually pretty emotional. Banana Bread carried the match heavily because he was the one on like VR. So he helped carry this match over. But it was the storytelling that these two did within the match. The crowd, I was commentating live, so the crowd behind me bought into it. Like they were super invested. It was like one of the bigger Impact crowds that we had. but they were super invested in this story between these two, and I think that's what got it to that level. So there's that one. There's how that one happened, and then the other one was a couple months later with Mr. Know-It-All, and this one I believe was like it was some sort of death match, probably like a barbed wire death match, I believe.
Barbed wire.
It was at one of their pay-per-views. Mr. Know-It-All finally captured the Impact World Title at this point. I think it was unified. But he had this match with him. Mr. Know-It-All, again, helped carry the match. That's the common theme with taxi matches, is that whoever he's in the ring with does a great job with him. Mm-hmm. But the Mr. Know-It-All was like on fire at this time. He was doing some of his best work that I've seen, at least at that time. That was the best work I've seen out of him. He was convincing. He made me give a shit about it, and he was like cutting shoot promos every week, just going in on everything. And I was like, damn, I'm starting to like this side of him. And match happens. I'm calling it live again, and Mr. Know-It-All's like, he's really played into this character, so he heavily pushes that within the story. And like seeing him capture the Impact World Title finally, I was like, yes. Fantastic. I was like, this is your best match that I've seen out of you at that point. And Taxi just somehow ended up being in both of those matches. So, at least the first one, he had some role in it with the story. But the other one, well, he technically did. He was basically like the reason we all cheered for Know-It-All, was because of how bad Taxi's face character is. But no, that's the reason why he ended up getting those. So it's an interesting fact, but he also has he's tied with one of the lowest ratings ever with a 0.5. So, yeah.
Who else has a 0.5?
I know there's a 0 match. Like the DPCW's got a 0.5. Impact's got a couple of them.
Jeremy.
And I think that's really it. There's only been like 3 or 4. But I usually don't go. I haven't gone lower than that. The only reason I would is if I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking leave. I'm not watching this anymore. Like I'll usually stick it out just to the end. Give you guys maybe pity for trying. That's what they got, was pity for trying. But I usually have not gone to a Z. Like Jeremy got a 0.75. Jeremy and Plasma did. They were on a 0 match, and I was calling it. The match was so bad, but Hayden on commentary made it so much worse. So I gave pity to everyone involved. But I ripped that match to shreds.
On commentary.
So,
yeah,
he's one of those odd people that have like a very high ratings on 2 things, and then one of the worst ratings I've ever seen on another. So
you stop eating.
Yeah.
No, you big bastard! Stop eating!
That bastard. Anyways, apologies on that. Just hearing the fucking audio in the background, I hear him munching on the pizza. Hear him.
Do we want to save this? Do we want to save this next one for last? Because I know these other 2 are going to be very quick.
Yeah. Well, this comes from Dawson Dynamite.
Oh my god!
No, fuck this guy too.
Fuck this guy, bro. Oh my god, honestly. What do you think about that cool guy, Dawson Dynamite? What do you think about that guy?
I think he needs to take a shower. I think he needs to go outside. I hate Dawson Dynamite. No, Dawson's all right. One thing I've seen with Dawson is he likes to learn. I think that's an admirable trait. I like seeing that because that's what he did with his match with Stein. So yeah, he's okay in my books. Just all right.
He's all right. He's all right.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Very good. All right, now this one's an interesting one. Alex Frost says, Shep, kiss, marry, or kill. Stein, Neutron, Ruby.
Ruby's a minor.
I think I asked Stein, are you above the age of 18?
Yes. Me and Stein are both the age of 18.
Thank fucking God. Okay, well, I'm going to kill Ruby then. I'm going to kill Ruby right off the gate.
Ruby's like, off the gate.
He's underage, so he's automatically getting killed. I can't, like he's dead.
Kiss Neutron, marry
Let's see.
Snipe.
kiss him. Fucking, I don't want to do either one of these. I hate both of you guys. Um, let's see. I guess
Oh shit.
you're kind of better. You're kind of cool. So I'll marry you, kiss time, and then I'll kill both of you guys after.
Yeah, we're still dying after it, but it's still fucking, dude. I'm gonna hold that to my deathbed. I'm gonna be like, yep. Stein said he'd marry me. All right, guys, y'all can fucking suck my ass. Now, the biggest question of this entire list. Stein time.
Yes, I gotta pull up my list.
Top 10 wrestlers.
We need the top 10 wrestler list. This is the one fucking question that everybody seems to always want an answer to, and I think finally we'll be able to give them the answer once this video comes out, because nobody else is gonna find this out until this video finally shows.
Except for the two in this room.
Yeah, except the two people.
So for the people in this room, I'll ask you just not spoil anything. Don't say anything about this because people, I want them to tune into this video for them. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. So I have same thing what I do with the matches. I got bias picks and then I got my like objective picks. So here we go.
Yeah.
My number 10 bias pick is Mike Towers. Because I love this heel character. I think it's the best heel character I've seen. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, he's one of the things I find like very enjoyable when I look back. Number 9 is the exact opposite with Vacation Guy. He's one of the most enjoyable faces I got to watch. So that again another reason why I like to go back and watch those. So he's my number 9. My number 8 bias pick is Shay Cross. Shay Cross is a very technical wrestler. I liked his story a lot with the EOG. That's probably his best work that I've seen. He's done some things since then, but I think like his time with the EOG was definitely like his highlighted moment of character work. Number 7 is Bandy. I put Bandy on there because he was again one of the most enjoyable promos I had to watch. So he made talking segments like worth it for me. I didn't have to like want to shoot myself in the foot every time I listened to you guys.
God, fuck it, damn.
Bandy's got a promo, great. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. But everybody else, fucking want to kill myself.
My bias picks. Number 6, we got Ruby. He's like he would be higher up if he wasn't so whiny. He's like, because I like the work he's done. He's done great work, but man, he is so. He is the most whiny person I have ever met. And that's saying something. There's a lot of whiny people on this game.
That's, you know what? We're going to clip that and make sure that everybody hears that after this video is out. I'm going to clip that, make sure.
Number 5 was Kai. I enjoyed Kai's work, especially like around the WRW time when he was going against with the title, when he won the title. Kai's on there at my number 5. Just all around, he was enjoyable to work with. 4 is Stein. Stein, I really enjoyed working with him, telling drinking stories every now and then. But his career, like him retiring and then coming back, was always cool to see. I think besides Vacation Guy, he was probably the next over babyface. I mean, there might be a couple more in between those two, which I'm going to get to one of them. But number 3 is Plasma. For my bias picks, number 3 is Plasma. The last 3 are all from Impact, from my time there. So that's why I've enjoyed working with these guys so much. Plasma is somebody who, like, I got to watch them develop in Zero for GBCW, but he sat through everything in Impact. He was one of the main reasons why the show was good at that time. He had some shitty promos every now and then, but like he was like a joyful person to work with. And like as a boss, he was good too. Like when I was working there. So Plasma's at my 3. Good job, buddy. My number 2 is Jetstream. Like I mentioned, he's very enjoyable to watch, and he's grown so much in the last 2 years, just as like a person, but also like as a wrestler in the ring. And I got to see all that play out from the beginning. So I'm very happy with where you've gone, Jetstream. And then my number 1 bias pick is Mr. Know-It-All. Mr. Know-It-All is somebody who I think is like very versatile. I wish he was given a little bit more to do in some areas. His promos are like the one area that might need a little work sometimes, but if he does do it, he can do a lot of great things. He's been in car tag videos with us. He's he's been enjoyable to talk to outside of the game too. So Know It All, he was there at the beginning. He was in the first promo class ever, where I ripped everyone in Impact to shreds. Because yeah, no joke. I sat outside the ring and I just yelled shit at people, and like I was the heckle. It was called like the heckling drill, where they would walk and say something, they'd cut a promo, but then I'd say something back to them. I'd insult the shit out of them, and I'd want them to think on their feet. And Know It All was there at the beginning, so he's just learning. He's getting heckled at by me. So that's a fond memory of those old days. But yeah, Mr. Know It All is my bias pick. So now let's go to the objective ones. Most of these people are the same, just different orders. So there's only one person I think I took out of this, or two I think. Okay. So my number 10, I left Mike Towers in the number 10. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the segment.
Sorry, my brother came in. He was just miming shit over here next to me.
Totally good.
It was funny that I turn around and he's just going, I just straight up punched him in the stomach.
You're like, fuck off! I'm doing something important.
I'm trying to defeat you. But yeah, number 10, I put at Mike Towers. I put Mike Towers at 10 objectively. I think people may not like him as a person, but with like Mike Towers, his character was by far one of the most interesting heels I've ever seen. But he also was like great in ring for his time. Like he was somebody who trained some of the newer guys going in, and he helped other people learn. He had one of the best finishers ever. So I love the stunner. But Mike Towers at a 10. I couldn't put him any higher than that, just because like he never really got anywhere past that. He was on top for like a couple months, and then once those months ended, he like went off a cliff in popularity.
Yeah, he just fucking disappeared. So, he was like, "Yep." Gone.
He was content, I think. He was just content where he was at.
Sure.
Number 9. This one's a different name, but we got Michael Evans.
Oh.
I put Michael Evans in because I've seen his work before, Impact and whatnot. He was like one of the bigger figures in like the very early stages of Rec Room Wrestling. When he debuted in DPCW, I knew it was going to be a big thing until it wasn't. But I thought he was going to go a lot longer.
Oh, finally, and then
I was like, oh, cool, this would be fun to see. And then he was just like, he was there for like maybe 2 matches, then he disappeared again. But no, I enjoyed watching Michael Evans. I think he's like one of those like pillars of Rec Room Wrestling near the beginning, those early stages of watching it grow. There's a couple other names you could put there, but that's because they were owners and whatnot. They were rivals in like 2021. Yeah. Michael Evans is one of those people who just wasn't one of those people. He was just great in ring. Number 8, I put Vacation Guy.
Okay.
I think it's unarguable. Like in my opinion, I think like having a character and having something to get behind is by far the most important because of the audience doesn't care. I don't care. Vacation Guy, every single time he went out there, people wanted to see him. That's just the brand that he brought up. He was great in ring too, which helped. Like he was very good in the ring, and he translated that in his matches. Him and Kai's match at the I think it was a New Start. It won I guess it won the Match of the Year poll, but they had a great match, and I got to see that. I got to watch him still be popular after so much time had passed. I think if he still comes out, people are cheering him on. And he's been around since like the very beginning too. He's been around a long time. So props to Vacation Guy making it to my number 8. Number 7, I put Jetstream. I think out of the Impact guys that I wanted to put in here, there's maybe a couple more who appeared in Impact, but out of like the main core Impact group, I think he excelled the most out of like even like the ones I mentioned with Know It All and Plasma. But Jetstream has improved so much in ring. He's constantly teaching people. He's involved in the community, but his impact in like what people do in ring cannot be understated. I talked about this before with his cannonball. He started doing that on my last show, and then everybody else started copying cannonballs because he perfected it. So he'll do a move, and then everybody else will imitate to follow him. That's the type of impact that Jetstream had. Number 6, I put Shea Cross. I think he's the best technician I've ever seen. There's been a couple great ones. Know It All is a great technician too. I think you're a pretty good technician. Ruby has his moments every now and then, but I put Shea Cross because whenever I saw a match and I was like, it's going to be a technical match, it's probably going to be with Shea. Sometimes it didn't work out with like ratings and whatnot, and I didn't really care about that when I was watching him because that's not what his character was. His character would be the technician that is willing to beat the shit out of you. It's kind of like William Regal, where he was great with the technical moves, but then he will also just lay a hammering on you. Shea Cross, I think it's like you can't deny that. You can't deny his impact that he's had on the game. So that's why I put him there.
Definitely.
And now we got the top 5.
All right.
This one's a little harder to figure out. So, yeah. So number 5, I put Bandy. Like I mentioned, he was great in ring with a lot of things. He was like one of those people where if he came on screen, it was a big deal. He had this aura behind him. He's been there since the beginning, basically, too. He's been everywhere, done everything. Now has a 5-star match under his belt, so congratulations again to that effort. Because like one thing I hadn't seen out of him was like that storytelling, and when he did it, there was an H-bomb that he got hit with, and he sold it like he had gotten shot. Like he looked like he was fucked up. I was so proud of him in that moment. I was like, finally, this is what's been missing. So I was happy with that. But as like a top 5 in what he's done for this community, Bandy, I have to put him in this list. Number 4, I went with another 4-pillar with Kai, the Master of Ropes, as he was named early on, and the Star-Lord, whatever the fuck that one meant. He was Kai was somebody who he was similar to how Ruby went and did his moves. They were both like high flyers. They wanted to show off, but Kai was one of those people early on that you can get behind, and with his career and not only like he's one of the main people that I've seen succeed in all 3 companies. He was a world champion, I believe, in all 3 of the main big ones. So he was a Black Diamond world champion. He was a WRW world champion, and then he was the ROH world champion at one point. I think there's probably been people who've held all 3 since then, but Kai, like his impact is known from those moments. Like I think he's been kind of overlooked in the last few months with everything else going on, but not only does he train people outside of the ring, but inside of the ring, he's still one of those important figures. And I hope, I hope there's a lot of names that can surpass these people I'm mentioning. By the way, I hope it's not the same in like a year or so when I'm not around to look at this. Okay, and now we go to the top 3, and this one, the top 3 was pretty simple to me. Like I just didn't know how I wanted to order them. So reluctantly, after like a lot of discussion with myself, I put number 3 as Inko.
Okay.
It was surprising to me too, because I thought about everything that Inko's done. He has all these accolades. He's one of the better heels in Rec Room Wrestling. And then I looked at his resume, like what he's done, and I saw like he had a 30-minute Ironman match. No other Ironman match has gotten 5 stars, by the way. Like it's hard to sit through Ironman matches, but he somehow managed to make an Ironman match enjoyable. And that's not an easy feat to do. I will say that like Last Man Standing is another one that's not easy to do because there's so much counting and waiting. But like props to Z-Man too with that match. But Inko, he made it so that I wanted to watch what he did, and I was just like, I was taken aback by it when I like look back at it now. I'm just like, damn, like when I was there, he was overlooked, and now he's like, and now he's getting the recognition he deserves, especially after that contest he had with Ruby. He really played into that matchup. That's where he got his second one, and I was just like, that's where I knew I had to give him his flowers for what he's done. The now retired Inko joining me in the retirement home. So yeah, don't be stealing my shit in there. Don't be stealing my shit, Inko. And then so we all knew what the number 1 and 2 were going to be, just based on discussion alone. This was by far the hardest thing I had to look at here. I had to make a choice on what I valued a little bit more. Story-wise, I've seen great things out of both these guys, but I've seen also them turn nothing into something. That's what I've enjoyed when watching these two. That's still hard because now that other one has happened, now the other match has happened, I have a little bit more to say, but fuck, I might have to think a little bit more on this one. Because I was for sure, I had it written down, I was like, I'm for sure this is it, and then now my whole mindset has changed.
Back at it, you're like,
So, yeah, because I know what the other thing's going to happen with this list too, is especially with these two, you are never going to hear the end of it from one of these two. They're going to bitch and moan to each other, and you will never hear the end of it, which one of them that I think is better. Fuck, and that was what I was worried about with the 5-star thing too. When I gave that first one out, was whoever got it was going to be arrogant as hell about it.
Well, what did you expect?
Yeah, I kind of knew that afterwards. I was like, it's bound to happen to somebody. The question is, who's that somebody?
Who? I wonder
Okay,
who is the one that was like...
For anyone who hasn't caught on, I'm choosing between Ruby and Stein right now, just to make that very clear. And I think I'm gonna put 2.
Oh shit! This is gonna be the moment.
I'm gonna
start another war. This is gonna start another war. I hope you know this. Wherever this lands.
Okay, I have my reasoning for this.
All right.
Because I've seen they have almost identical accolades in a lot of ways. They both now have 3-star, they both have 3 5-stars. I think I'm gonna give this one though. I'm gonna put number 2 as Ruby and number 1 as Stein, and here's why.
Okay.
So, like I said, they have very similar accolades. I think as a better face, you can make the argument between either one. Ruby had his great match with Bandicoot, and that's probably his best babyface performance I've seen out of him. In other matches, he was more of a tweener and whatnot. People were booing him because of his excesses. So he never got to that point where he was a full babyface. He was always in between somewhere. And then there's the whole night with Bandy. That one he had a great performance too as a babyface. And with this performance, it was always known that he was going to be the face going in because the whole event was built around him. I don't want to take that away from them when I say that. I just think if you're going to build the whole event around that, it's very clear on who they're going to want to root for. Mm-hmm. So the dynamic was there. Stein, on the other hand, he had his moments with those matches. And all 3, actually no, not all 3. In 2 of the 3 matches, I would say his first encounter, he was the babyface with Mike. He was the babyface champion, now having to prove himself as to why he belonged. And he did that. He did that in that match. So that's how he got, and that's the only one that I think I've re-reviewed, and it's gotten a higher rating, 5 stars. So he maybe looked back and proved me wrong there. So that's his babyface performance. I would argue that Ruby's was better if I looked at just those. But then I look even further. I look into his match with Kai, and I look at just like the unpredictability of that. He was still like, I would say he's still kind of the face in that moment, but it wasn't like heavily as weighted. He was in that middle ground a little bit better, and although his promos sounded like, "Hey guys, it's time. I'm hosting WrestleMania. It's great to be here." Like that's how he sounded. He sounded so monotone.
Yeah.
As a Ruby actually had emotion in promos, so I'll give the edge to promos in Ruby. But with storytelling and whatnot, I got to give that to Stein because he went as a face, he left as a face, then he came back and became a very convincing heel, which is not easy to do. Like there are people who were still cheering for him as he came back, and I saw that too. I knew it was going to be the case, but he did a good job of winning that character over. And like especially with that performance with Dawson, it really helped the student-teacher dynamic that went on. I think that's what carried that over. So I got to watch him kind of, I guess, show his chops a little bit compared to Ruby, who did the same thing. Like in-ring wise, you can make arguments between both, which one you think is better. Objectively, I think if I have to look at everything, I'm going to choose Stein. In-ring wise, personally though, I'll say Ruby. That's in my, like, of everything I've seen in ring, I think Ruby, he was constantly adapting. He always needed to feel like he was improving himself, and he wasn't there. He was beating himself up about it. So in ring wise, he was constantly changing with the game. But if I had to think of just everything else, Stein had a very good in-ring ability too, but he also had this like emotional connection for everybody else. Are you all right?
Yeah, and I accidentally grabbed
fly
the
around.
controller.
What happened to you?
Just fucking blew up. My bad. Please continue.
So, where was I at? But anyway, that's why I put Ruby at 2, and I put Stein at 1. I hope for the love of, like, I pray to the love of God that somebody takes over these spots because I don't want to hear about this for the next year or so from these two.
I definitely do think that with like the newer people coming in, I definitely do think that there's a lot that they can look forward to, especially seeing like the list of people that are on here. I think with old people, with like the older generation leaving and the new generation coming in, I think it gives them that strive to be better. I think more improving on themselves, like, you know, how we talked about earlier. We talked about characters, storytelling, in-ring work, in and out of the ring. I think that's going to give them another initiative to just make it onto this list. I know it takes time and dedication. I definitely do think that that's mainly the big standpoint behind it. But honestly, these guys all started at the bottom, especially how the newer people are coming in and they made themselves known, you know, slowly but surely. And I think that's something that a lot of the newer talent can strive to do. So hopefully I am thinking as well that hopefully by next year there are different names on this list. And hopefully this ends the fucking discussion of these two bickering back and forth, you know. Hopefully this kind of solidifies it a bit.
It's going to cause more bitching. I know it's going to cause more bitching.
Yeah.
I knew no matter what I say here, I'm going to hear from one of these two.
Man, it's gonna be fun.
But I think if you're a new person and you're watching this, some people, like, I'll have some people come up to me and be like, "Oh, he's one of the greatest of all time." I'm like, I don't even wrestle. I don't even wrestle.
Wrong guy, pal.
But I think they're probably talking about commentary. I had somebody, I think it was Evil Eye. He mentioned to me, he was like, people are starting to call me now the voice of Rec Room. And I was very happy to hear that. I was like, yes, somebody else is taking this over. And he was like, I didn't want to be called that because that's what people called you. And I said, don't worry about it, dude. That's not me anymore. Like, people can look at it, that's fine. They can have their opinion, but you're there now. You need to own that. That's on you. So to those new people, I say, like, if you're looking up to somebody and you're wanting to mimic somebody, don't mimic them exactly. Find what works for you. Find what that special thing is about you, and then carry that over. Like, make people go, oh yeah, I really like watching X and X wrestler. Like him, like he's such a great guy for this, and this. and not be like, oh, he's compared to Stein or he's compared to Rudy. He talks like Shep or Bandy. Like that's not what this should be about anymore.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think
Shep
that's a
Bandicoot
really
2024.
yeah. That's a quote that is probably not going to be clipped somewhere, and this is what everybody's going to look back at. But hopefully this answers a lot of those questions.
Us old heads are gone soon. We're all we're all gone
Well,
soon. So
that's
yeah,
true.
that's not us anymore.
That is true. That is not us anymore. So this is going to be fun. I hope with this last interview, I know this is the second to last one because I still am going to give people the ability of asking me questions, and definitely going to have someone behind the camera kind of ask those questions. And I've always been told, oh, I want to ask you something. Well, finally you'll get that opportunity. But I think with these interviews, I think there's one thing that I can always take back at and just learn everybody's story in a way. I know sometimes there are almost all questions about Rec Room, but I think sitting down and having chats with like everybody that has been on here has opened my eyes to a lot of things. Not only of how you as a person are, but I think the way that you think about all these questions, because I know sometimes questions can be talked in different formats, different ways, and everybody's got their own opinions, and I think that's the beauty behind these interviews. So honestly, it's been fun.
Hmm.
I hope whoever does interviews or podcasts next, I hope you take some good out of this and do even fucking better. Because honestly, I could have done better, but this was something fun that I wanted to do. Especially, once I leave Rec Room and everything, I definitely do want this channel to still be here and have these videos here, so people can just go back and see from 1 year from now how all these questions all simmered in. For example, the taxi question. We all know how that simmered, but someone later down the road can check again in another year and see how that simmered again. But as always, like we did that first time when we interviewed, this is your opportunity now that I will put the camera on you. You can ask anything, say anything. This is all your time now, as we like to always close out with these videos.
For those people who have been watching for a while or who already know my name, thank you guys so much for supporting me the last 2 years or so. You've helped me build out this community for my YouTube channel, as well as just having an enjoyable time when I was in I'm not going to go into detail, but I was in a very iffy place. It just wasn't very good. And I had this as an outlet to get some creativity, get some expression. So I thank you guys for that. And for the new people who haven't seen anything that I've done before, go check out my YouTube. It's Shep Bandicoot. We're about to hit 2,000 subs. Our goal is for that by the end of the year. We were hitting 1,000 last year. It's insane. The growth's been insane thanks to these YouTube shorts and whatnot. But the best way that you all can help me out is just watching these videos, maybe commenting once in a while. Let me know your thoughts on things. Let me know what I can do different. That's what's going to keep me going for those, because there's going to be a time, just like when I was doing commentary, where the videos are going to die out. The channel will still be there. It's just I won't have time to do things because now I'm evolving and I'm doing new things. So as much as possible, I want that to still be there. So the best way you can do that is just watch videos. Give us some runtime. Let us know your true and honest thoughts about it. If you don't like what we're doing, tell us about it. Join our Discord server. I'll probably have them link it in the description of this video. But that's for me. That's the best way you can support me going forward, and my brother, who's been very good on this ride as well. But to this Rec Room Wrestling people, thank you. Thank you so much for all you've done.
Definitely. Well, without further ado, I got one last thing to say. This is the last one that I have because he gave me 3 strikes, so I'm going to use this last one. All right, old man, back to the fucking retirement home. They're calling for you, all right? Off the fucking stage. Fucking stage. Come on.
It's nap time.
It's nap time.
Hey, you were there at one point.
I was there, and I am
You
going
were there
back
at one
soon.
point.
I definitely do want to go back soon. I miss Aunt. I miss
No, beat you
Nurse
in
Joy.
chess again.
I miss Nurse Joy.
Nurse
Anyway.
Joy.
All right, let's get the fuck out of
All
here.
right, now get the fuck out of
Happy
here.
Hills retirement home. Yo! Ah.